A super thanks to begin today's Cowboys Report mailbag from Xavier Worthy Burner, who wishes he was a Cowboy and not a Chief, I'm sure. Dak needs to play better. He's putting too much pressure on himself, forces the ball because of it. Additionally, all he remembers is the play that won the game. Turpin catches the ball and we win the game. The 2 picks are less of an issue. Agreed. He also continued, I've also noticed Dak looks uncomfortable. It rattled. Last year was comfortable under pressure and scrambling. Now I worry it's going to be a pick. If there even is someone open, he probably can't get there in time because of the line. It feels like he's throwing into less than 1 yard windows all game. It feels that way because it is. The tight window throw percentage for Dak Prescott this year is higher than any quarterback in the NFL by a pretty significant number. He's at 22.5%. You can go look at other NFL QBs around the league. You can get under half of that. Trevor Lawrence has half of that. Baker Mayfield has half of that. Patrick Mahomes is at 6.7% tight window throw percentage this year. Part of that is schematics. Make no mistake. You've got one guy that's good in contested catch right now. It's Jalen Tolbert. He's the only guy that's done a good job in contested catches. It's funny to me because I thought the 2 best throws of that entire game against the 49ers were not caught. It was the Kevontae Turpin silent throw that was pure drop, and the Brevin Spann-Ford end zone throw, which is a very tough catch to make, but it was in the only spot it could have ever been caught. I thought the worst throw also wasn't caught. It was the triple coverage forced to CeeDee Lamb because your schematics suck and you're trying to make the big chunk play, and he's pressing. I know that the Cowboys said he's not. He's clearly pressing and forcing the issue because and it's not right. It's a bad mindset. He has to. There's no ground game. The receivers aren't open. The O-line's not doing a great job. It's a lot of little snowball effect things that are happening. He hasn't played well enough. All of these things are true, and that's exactly what you're saying, Xavier Worthy Burner, and I agree. That came in via Super Thanks, a feature here on YouTube that allows you to donate outside of live videos. Click the thanks icon, edit your message, send in whatever you want to send in. We got a super chat from Troy Daniels, a.k.a. our mod extraordinaire. Looking forward to opening it on Sunday with those bots. We appreciate you, Troy. I went with your prize picks for this week. What do you think of any real trade happening with Dallas? Stephen Jones gave his old borderline, acquisitions of 365-a-day business. They will listen if teams call them, which makes me think a sell is more likely than a buy. This upcoming game against the Falcons does matter for that whole conversation, though. Max Finnegan, a.k.a. Max Smash 73. A deal the Jones boys might win. Trade of DeMarcus Lawrence. Jones can play Ravens, Lions, Falcons against each other. Drive up the price. Cowboys can get good value. Those teams need defensive end help. The strategy is sound. The specific issue you run into with DeMarcus Lawrence is he might be a full month away from playing again. I don't know how close he actually is to returning. The foot injury was a multi-week foot injury. Borderline multi-month injury. And it's not the easiest recovery for a 260 whatever pound defensive end. You don't often see teams trade for injured players because you don't know when there going to come back. Now, you might have to do a comp pick or like a conditional pick, which is already kind of driving down your value. So, the logic is sound. It's smart. The injury really complicates things. From Rocky, would a bad loss lead to a fire sale moving guys like Osa, Diggs, etc.? I would put Osa and Diggs actually in 2 separate buckets. A player like Osa Odighizuwa might not be back next year, and he's not under contract. So those rental players make a ton of sense to sell when you know you're going to try to retool and go back and be aggressive in 2025. If you want to move a Diggs, a Micah, one of those guys, you can wait until the offseason because they're still under contract, and you actually might have better value overall because more teams could potentially be in the market than what are available right now. But guys like Osa, Hendricks, any other veteran rental pieces, your safeties because I don't want them anymore, you could certainly shop those players. So will the Cowboys actually make a trade? Y for yes, or 1 for yes, 0 for no, because it's 1 trade or no trades. Let me know the pinned comment of today's show. Stephen Goltz, I think the game has passed both mics by. I don't think they're helping up to date with keeping up to date with other NFL teams are doing. There are members of the staff that do that, by the way. Well, we'll talk about it in our preview video. You've seen some of that, like I call it the slot flip motion, where you kind of go with a stack or a bunch set, and you move from one guy inside to the outside, and now it changes who's in the slot and not. They've done some of that. They've done the cheat motion stuff. But I think their overall philosophies, especially McCarthy on offense, I'm more inclined to give a slight pass to Zimmer because they're so decimated on defense. Like, I don't know what you're really able to do personnel-wise. But I saw McCarthy get away from stuff that worked last year and lean into his philosophy stuff. Yeah, I think the game's passed him by. Brian Perry, the Cowboys sign a defensive end. Who are you going to get out there? Like, Jerry's comment about that is wrong for trades. Right about free agency. Who you want out there? Who's good? Like, your defensive end additions are coming. They're named Micah Parsons, Marshawn Nealon, and Tank Lawrence. It just might be too little, too late. Brent Workman just tuned in. Do we still suck? You're the worst 3-4 team in the NFL. And if you don't win this one, you're the worst 3-5 team in the NFL. This Falcons game, you can't get the win. If you can't move the ball on offense against this Falcons defense, boy, you're going to be in trouble. Today's show was made possible by Game Time. They got a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks. Filters out the fluff to only show you the incredible deals on great seats. So don't have to waste time searching through thousands of different tickets. It is curation to make it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. The all-in pricing feature shows your total cost up front, so there are no surprise fees at checkout. And the Game Time guarantee means you will always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app, create your account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, ChatSports, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Brian, would you consider trading away Zack Martin? If you want to go sell, that's the type of name you need to consider. Because I think this is his last year. I also don't think he's the same player he used to be. He is not the same name brand recognition, name brand talent, future Hall of Famer that we've seen previously. He hasn't played that way, which is disappointing and frustrating, but he's old and banged up. That's why I think there's a real chance he retires after the season. Because you're getting a half-season rental, though, of a veteran football player who's on the decline, I think we can say those things now. I don't know what the value is. There's no comp pick upside for the new team. I feel like you're getting a fifth at best back. I think that's the downside with where you're at and where he's at, which sucks. That's where you go. So what draft pick do you think Zack Martin is worth? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. What draft pick do you think he's worth? Noah Turner says Matt Eberflus for DC, Mike McDaniel for OC. Don't know who your head coach is, but if those guys get fired, I think they'll be very popular DC and OC candidates. I think Mike McDaniel's got a little bit lost in the sauce offensively this year, but he does a lot of creative stuff, better than what Mike McCarthy does, so it'd be an upgrade. Eberflus at one point was the heir apparent to Rod Marinelli. Timing never quite worked out, so I would not be mad at that one either. But both the guys are strong coordinator candidates, depending on who your head coach is. Austin Carey, trade for Azeez Ojulari, Preston Smith, Za'Darius Smith. You can call about those guys. Like, I don't think that's a bad idea. Like you're exploring veteran pass rushers that can help benefit you. I don't think that the Cowboys want to buy. And I don't know how Sunday goes. I get it. You're not a contender. You're not. So maybe you keep your powder dry if you actually are going to spend your damn powder next offseason. Like, all those guys help you. Make no mistake about it. You should have made those trades a month ago, 2 weeks ago even. Now it feels a little bit unlikely. Now we will be live for the NFL trade deadline. Be live on both the Chat Sports and the Cowboys Report YouTube channels. Hit that sub button if you haven't already, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Lenny V23, who do you want the Cowboys to draft in the first round next year? A lot of good options. Depends on where you're drafting and what you've done in free agency. Do you need a corner? Can you get Travis Hunter somehow? Probably not. Have you filled your needs? You can take best player available. That might be Ashton GT at a Boise State. And I will take this stance, by the way, because I know you guys aren't going to like it. If you are just going best players available, the Michigan defensive tackle is names you have to consider. Don't helmet scout. We can all be better than that. Mason Graham's a damn good football player. Probably is going to be there for you anyway, so it's a moot point, but don't helmet scout. Clayton Lockhart. Hey, Tom, can it really be considered tanking if the team just isn't good enough to begin with? That's what we call organic tanking. And that's how you set it up if you want to tank. Because the players on your roster are not going to actively lose games. Because a lot of them are fighting for jobs with this team or future teams. Your coaching staff is not going to actively lose games because they're all on one-year deals. They have to do their best stuff to get a new job. That's why the conspiracy theories of Mike sabotaging, Dan Quinn sabotaging, no, they're not. No NFL coach is tanking their current job to get a different one or spite the owner in an effort to not pay their mortgage. That's not how it works. But if you trade away some good players, then you can organically tank. Carl, does Damone Clark get traded? I think the Cowboys would move on from him if they had an offer or an interest or a good enough offer. He's not playing right now. He's buried as linebacker 4. He's got 2 years left. You can shop that guy, a year and a half left. You can shop that guy. Is there interest? Don't know. Name a player that you guys either want to trade for or trade away. Let me know in the comments of today's show. Byron Joe David, explain the rumors around Ben Johnson as head coach. It's simple. That's the best offensive coordinator in the NFL. And that guy is always going to get head coaching interest. He's had it 2 years in a row, and he's passed on jobs 2 years in a row. Passed the Panthers' job twice. Passed on the Commanders' job. That was his job. He said no. He has been picky because most coaches know they get one shot at it. So they want to try to pick the right spot as long as their stocks are high. His stock is still very high. Biggest issue here is, look, your ownership group doesn't want a first-time head coach. And that's a really stupid mindset to have. Because I'm just going to Google this right now. I'm going to do NFL head coach power rankings. Real quick. Just across the NFL right now. First article I see here. All right, going. Cool. Warren Sharp. Awesome. First list. It's got Andy Reid, who was a former NFL head coach. John Harbaugh. Kyle Shanahan. Dan Campbell. Sean McVay. Matt LaFleur. Mike McDaniel. Kevin Stefanski. Kevin O'Connell. Mike Tomlin. Nick Sirianni. Zach Taylor. Sean McDermott. DeMeco Ryans. And then Shane Steichen tied for 15th. So all but one of your best NFL head coaches, according to that list, and there are exceptions. You can put Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payne, Harry if you want to. But the vast majority of NFL head coaches that are the best ones got their jobs the first time with their current team. So to cut out the best options in your talent pool just sounds stupid to me as a philosophy. What the Cowboys like to do. Daniel, time to putting rumors on Sanders, Chubb, Hubbard, Etienne. I have talked about that several times this month because those are players on not great teams or they've kind of lost their jobs and they're looking for running back markets. They're available in theory, and the Cowboys are going to get linked to backs. It's logical connections. I just don't think you should get your hopes up there.